Good morning and happy Friday. Hey, we might have to get these over in the bathrooms at FHS High School when we come back. But anyway, it's Friday, so you've got your stuff to finish up for the week. You know what that is. This daily video. Watch this thing. I hope you are already, but it's going to have some assessment tips in there. We'll talk about the assessment in just a minute. Details for the week's math work. Same Khan Academy objectives that you've had. Assessment info we'll talk about in just a minute, and I'll talk about that. The Flipgrid, this is where I would like, if at all possible, I would like you to put your responses here, right? I know some people have some issues with Flipgrid, some connectivity issues or whatever. If that's the case, you can click on this and you can write up your answers and you can find a way that you can share those with me. But if you can, do it through this Flipgrid. And then still you do your daily check-in and your weekly self-assessment. In terms of the assessment, academic integrity is a big deal, right? I don't know exactly what's the best way to do this. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. There is a statement at the top of this assessment info. When you do your Flipgrid, I'm assuming that most people are doing the Flipgrid, I'm going to ask you very specifically to read that statement, because here's what it says. It says, this is my work. I want this assessment to be your work on these objectives. There is literally no way that I can check you and make sure that you didn't get answers from your friend. I can't. And even if I could, at this point, I need you to own your own integrity. So I'm going to ask you to make that statement. This is my own work, and you'll be able to read it right off the top. Where I guess if you choose to lie, I'm at least asking you to lie out loud, and you're going to have to own that for yourself, right? I won't know it, but you will. So please do that, right? That has to be part of the statement. So what's going to be on this assessment? What's going to be on this assessment is the things that you've been asked to do this week on Khan Academy. If you've stayed caught up, you're in great shape. We've had Zoom meetings now Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and no one showed up for any of them. So I'm assuming that means we're in good shape, although I haven't seen a lot of people completing them in Khan yet, but it's only Friday morning, and so maybe that's still coming. Here's the thing. Here are basically the two types of ideas that you're going to be asked about on your assessment. Domain and range. You will have some questions. First of all, what does domain mean? Domain simply means what are the possible x's that are either in this picture or that could be in this equation. Domain has to do with what are the x values that actually would work, that are part of this function. And range means what are the possible y values for this function. What could y be in terms of this picture or this equation? So you will have one question that looks something like this. What are the domain and range, for example, of this picture? Well, on this picture, it says the graph goes from -6. Here's the lowest. The x's are here. Starts here at -6, and it goes up to 6. The domain for this function right here is all the x's from -6 to 6. That is the domain. The range has to do with the y values. Well, the lowest y value here is down here at -7. This thing goes from -7 up to 4. The range for this function is from all the y's from -7 to +4. You're going to have one question that's something like that. You're also going to have one question like this that says, what is the domain of this function? What is the domain of a function that looks like this? When I asked you what is the domain of a function, what I'm saying is, what could x be? What values of x could we put in here and it wouldn't be a problem? Okay? Well, I think of that as, well, what would be a problem? The only thing that would be a problem here, you can put x 100 in here. Could you do 100 minus 5? 4 over whatever 100? Sure, you could. Could you put a negative in there? 4 over -20 minus 5? Sure, you can figure out what that is. The only thing that you couldn't put here, remember that rule that you can't divide by 0. You can't divide by 0. If I accidentally put in 5 for x, 5 minus 5 would be 0, and this thing would be 4 divided by 0, and that's illegal, right? You can't do that in math. You can't divide by 0. So the domain for this thing would be all the x's in the world except 5. 5 is the one thing in the world that would make this thing blow up because it would cause us to divide by 0. Look at this one over here. I don't care what happens in the numerator. You can do anything you want. The only bad thing that can happen here is, what if what plus 2 would equal 0? And you go, oh, what if x was negative 2? Negative 2 plus 2 would be 0. That would be a problem. So the domain for this function is every single possible x in the world except negative 2. Negative 2 would cause this to blow up. So the domain, all the numbers except negative 2. The domain here, all the numbers except 5. You're going to have to do a question like that on your assessment. Beyond that, what I really need you to do is, we'll do that assessment, of course. It's due by Sunday night at midnight. I don't care when you do it, but again, I really care that you maintain your integrity. It's your work. Please make it yours, right? Put it in the appropriate first hour or 7th hour flip grid, do the daily check-in, do the weekly self-assessment, and you're good. Except I need to leave you with this deep thought by Jack Handy. In weightlifting, I don't think sudden, uncontrolled urination should automatically disqualify you. Thanks for today, and wear your seatbelts.